Okay, today we are going to go through a cue that sounds very similar to the cues that I write on an NBC show called Manifest. So when I started making sample fuel instruments, I was really trying to create the tools that I wanted to use for the scores that I write, and they are specifically tailored to how I want to work. But I've created thousands and thousands of sounds across all the instruments that are really meant to get you writing professional sounding cues incredibly fast. Because when we're busy, it's hard to search and create sounds. You just want to be able to work really, really fast and create really professional results. So what I've done here today is the very first demo I made for our Poly instrument. I've grabbed that, and it sounds very similar to some of the music I write in Manifest, and I filled it out even more. And in front of that, I've written a cue that pretty much is exactly how I write on Manifest. So what you're seeing here on the screen in Cubase is the folder that says Poly and Wave Hybrid Bundle. The pinkish purplish color is actually all Poly sounds, and the green tracks are all wave sounds, so both Poly and wave are included in the hybrid bundle. Now, I've also filled it out with one string sound from Spitfire, some percussion sounds, and 3 additional sounds. One from Pad Motion called Meditation Bowl, which is a meditation bowl kind of pad sound, and from our Revolution Create reversing instrument, a sound called Celeste Crunchy 1, where if you actually watch Manifest and listen, that's a very signature sound in the score. And then one additional reversing electric piano and piano sound in a 2-layer sound. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just play the full cue, and then after that, we'll listen to just the Poly and wave sounds only. But the cue is mostly Poly and wave anyways, but here you go. Okay, so there you go, a very typical sounding cue from Manifest. So now let's go back and do what I said. I'll solo my voice, and I'll solo all the tracks that are coming just from Poly and wave. And what you were seeing was an instance of wave and an instance of Poly, or actually of Halion Sonic SE hosting a bunch of Polys and a bunch of waves within 2 instances, hosted in V Pro on remote desktop on another computer. So that's what you were seeing on the right side of the screen. So here again is just Poly and wave soloed. And again, I'll bring up the plugin just so you can see it switching. Okay, so there you have it. So sounds pretty complete. Obviously missing a few percussion sounds and a couple of other little minor ear candy things. But so let's now go sound by sound, track by track, and see what's going on here. So the first sound we have is something called Cream Fizz Pulsar. So I'll solo it and let's hear it. Okay, so it's kind of more of a, I'm using it like a pad with just some light, nice pulsing to it. Okay, so what's nice about some of these sounds, I'll hit stop, is that they work really well across the entire range. So even though I'm kind of up here, and you'll notice the mod wheel on all the sounds really opens up the filter. But if I play down here, it's kind of a nice tension pulsar. Okay, so let's keep going. Next is a sound called, it's a 2-layer sound. That's what the 2L means, called Around the World. So let's see what's going on with that sound. So cool kind of thin arpeggiation sound. And with the arpeggiation sounds, I should say, the bottom 8 keys will trigger different patterns on the fly in sync. So I'm hitting different keys, and it's changing the pattern. So that changes all in real time, locked to your sequencer without missing a beat. All right, let's hear the next sound, Pendulum Fizz Attack. Okay, just more of a big swell, pulsing swell. Mayday Pulsar 2. Let's hear what that is. Okay, so again, more like a pad with some pulsing. And I'm playing, a melody with it. Okay, let's hear Mayday Pulsar on this track. So just a very simple kind of tension. And then looks like maybe I'll drop in an octave lower. Okay, let's go to the next sound. All right, this sound is definitely one of my favorites. Here we go. It's a 2-layer sound called Bottom Dropper Runner. Okay, so you got one layer that's kind of doing a drop sound, and the other layer's that arpeggiation. It's probably worth taking a look at this. Let's see if we can find this over here and show it to you. Yeah, so you see, this is Poly, the simple page. There's an advanced page, but we have two layers, layer 1 and layer 2. So layer 1, and you can solo or mute these. So here we're soloing layer 1. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong track. Okay, so let's bring this up. It's two layers. It's called bottom dropper. So layer 1, layer 2. We have a simple and advanced page. So let's see what's going on. You can solo or mute each layer. So let's solo layer 1. That's the arpeggiation. And let's hear layer 2. So it's just got that drop. And then when you play them together, it sounds pretty cool. So let's hear what it's doing over here. Okay, moving on to the next sound. So another pulse. Got lots of pulsing going on. So here we go. See, I'm opening up the filter with the mod wheel here. Okay, so next sound's called noise drum active. So this is it sounds like a drum pattern, but it's all made with the noise oscillators. But this definitely sounds good in an action track for sure. All right, let's keep moving on. So this one's called a dance quarter pumping. And it looks like I'll do a bigger chord here. So just a really thick saw type dance sound. Okay, alarm clock from hell. Let's hear this thing. So I'm opening the filter via the mod wheel again. So you can see almost every sound so far is all about creating motion and pulsing. And that's what these instruments are they just excel at. It's called two-layer flyby. Okay, another two-layer called thick in and out. It's a really nice analog type arpeggiation sound. Okay, and another one called Dr. Fizz. Okay, so just pulsing down at the bottom. So that was all poly sound. So now we're moving to the green section, which is kind of the first half mostly, is where I'm focusing mostly on wave sounds. So let's hear what this is. So just a really cool, thin, tense pad cluster I'm making. So it's more of a textural thing. It's not very loud in the mix. Okay, so Resonant Cloud, I think, is more of a pad transition sound. Let's see. Yeah, just a really nice, smooth, analog type pad. Okay, so let's go to this sound called rising double wave. Okay. Okay, this one's called checkered past number 3. So again, more pad-like with like really interesting pulsing motion to it. On a show like Manifest, it's all about just creating simple cues, and it's more about just producing these really sparse, tense landscapes, and that's what I lean on these synths for. So this one's called Chill Ramp. So again, a really kind of subtle, sparse pad that just has this kind of ebb and flow to it. All right, let's jump to one called Ripples in the Water. Kind of like the last cue in terms of concept, just a simple pad that ebbs and flows, but this one's thinner and it has more intensity to it. Again, when you're writing long cues that are just kind of playing across scenes that have lots of simple tension to them, I really find that I am just trying to create interest without having the cue get boring. So it could be kind of similar sounds coming in and out, but as long as they're changing in subtle ways, that's what keeps the cues interesting. All right, this one's called Squash 'em. So kind of an interesting pulsing arpeggiator. I'm just using one note, but it's kind of thin, but kind of interesting. Okay, so this one's called Steam Keys Upbeats. So it probably is going to be kind of pulsing on the ands of the beats. I'll put the click in so you can hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so it's kind of a keyboard type of sound, and I'm playing an ostinato kind of melody, but it's got this upbeat pulse to it. I'm not sure how well you can hear the click on the video, but that's what's going on. Okay, sounds like progress. Let's hear that sound. So an arpeggiation sound. Again, another subtle texture. That's what makes the cues sound interesting, at least to me, is creating all these subtle things that come in and out, to help keep a relatively simple cue sound not so simple and complex, but the main idea is that it stays interesting. Okay, so then on the section where things start getting big and actiony, I have a sound that's just called a Brahms Enhancer 3 with some pulse to it. So it's just hitting the accents. Okay, so this next sound, it's called Mooting Forward, and it's back on our instrument Poly. This is one of my most signature sounds on Manifest. It's super simple. It creates this low, simple pulsing with a little bit of distortion to it, but I use it all over. Yeah, if you're familiar with the show, you probably most certainly recognize that sound. Okay. The last two are just what I call like low grinder kind of pedal tones I end up using. So this one called Nasty Grind, it's just kind of that. I like to use it low, and it has this pulsing grind to it. And that sound, you probably don't have to just use it low. Let's use it as a chord. So it can be used up high. And this last sound on here is just called Serious Bottom Chopper. I think I have all the motion taken out of it. And it's just, again, I use it more as pedal tones. Just for super low kind of. So one more time, let's listen to the whole cue now that you're familiar with the individual sounds, so you can hear how they all blend together once again. Well, there you go. So a cue inspired by what I write on Manifest, done very quickly with Poly and Wave from the Hybrid bundle featured. And these are made to get you writing very professional sounding cues very quickly. Thanks for listening.